Good morning. It's Jerrad Havins here, financial freedom strategist, and wanted to put out a video. And today's topic, today's edition is going to be around debt settlement. So if you have collections, if you have charged off accounts with balances, of course, I'm going to be going over exactly the strategy that you should be looking at when it comes to how really the most effective way to handle these types of accounts, especially if you're looking to get approved for a mortgage in the future or any type of lending. One thing that I see happen a lot is clients, and I get it. Like if you've gone through an issue in the past, you're doing better now and your credit's been damaged because of events in the past. And you're just like, look, I'm doing better now. I want to move forward. Logically, you would think, okay, I should just go and start paying off and settling out these debts, just pay them off. The problem is what most people don't realize is that certain FICO algorithms, if you were to pay off a collection, and it gets reported, right? So it gets updated. That payment itself actually lowers your credit score. So think about it. So let's say you have like four collections and you go through and like, okay, I'm just going to pay these suckers off. I'm trying to move on. I want to show that I have the ability to pay. And the problem is, like, when you think about a collection, if you look at your credit report, you'll notice below a collection, there's no payment history. So like if you look at, let's say, an auto loan on your credit report, you're going to see typically a 24-month payment history legend below the account. Below a collection, you're not going to see that. And the reason being, it's technically just a derogatory debt. It's negative. That's all it is. That's all there is to it. And so essentially, there is no activity on an account like that that can be positive outside of a deletion, an actual permanent deletion off the report. A payment itself can lower your FICO credit score. That's why understanding when to settle and how to settle is so important. And so for us at Credilife, a big part of our methodology is first doing an audit of your credit report and identifying accounts that are either in collection or charged off status with balances. And then what we do is we work with you to get a better understanding of the history of those accounts. Okay. So how old are they? Could it be with a different collection company and the one that's on the report isn't even accurate? That's quite common actually, because collections get bought and sold. And so we'll do that audit with our clients to get a better understanding of like what's actually going on. And then really the first step in what you want to do is credit repair. Ideally you want to attempt to delete the account first and then settle. Because if you think about what I said before, there is no positive activity outside of a deletion when it comes to a derogatory account like that. So really the best strategy initially is going to be to attempt to delete through credit repair strategies, effective credit repair strategies, not online disputes. That's horrible, rarely works. In fact, you lose rights when you do that, when you do them through the bureaus. You definitely want to work with a company like us that does it effectively through letters. You want to leverage the law to the best of your ability and just do that. But really what we would do is let's attempt to delete. And based on that initial audit that we did, that's when we'll know, okay, this has been removed. Let's go ahead and figure out the best debt settlement strategy and a way to save the most amount of money, which means you're going to settle for less than full balance. And that way it's a permanent fix. Your credit report, your scores have improved and you're still taking care of that debt. So that way we don't run the risk of that collection getting sold to another collection company in the future and then re-reported, thus damaging your credit again. So that's why it's so important. Now, when it comes to the strategy of debt settlement itself, so one thing that I do with my clients is I'll spend time and really coach them on like, okay, let's just say, it's a collection that originated from a credit card. Let's say it's around $1,200. Okay. Well, something like that, with that ABC collection company, usually there's two things you want to keep in mind. One, ideally, you want to be able to do what's called a one-time lump settlement offer for less than full balance. So if it's $1,200 for easy math, let's say we're offering $600, a 50% settlement, one time, which then is going to give you the best opportunity to save the most amount of money. And then you're then doing that settlement for less than full balance, and then you're done. Another thing that you want to think about is the timing of that. Usually the best time to reach out is going to be towards the end of a month. End of a month, end of a quarter. Tax season is actually a really good time. There's certain time that naturally, you're just gonna have a better opportunity to save more money. Because if you think about it, when it comes to a rep at a collection company, their job is to collect on debt. And some of these people are paid off commission or bonus structure based on the amount of debt that they collect. So if you think about it, just human nature, they're going to be more apt to work with you towards the end of a month or an end of a quarter because they're trying to hit numbers, right? So those are typically going to be really good times to reach out. And once again, I highly recommend, and this is something I do with my clients all the time, let's plan this out in advance to get an idea of what this type of settlements will look like in the future. So that way you can save in advance to have power, negotiating power with a one-time lump settlement. That's always going to be the best case scenario that you can have. You will save the most amount of money. And if we did credit repair to start, your credit now is improved. So literally, instead of just starting with debt settlement, paying off accounts, your scores drop, and you're going, oh, what the heck? I just spent a ton of money. My scores are worse. We're going to be able to avoid all of that by doing credit repair strategies first, attempt to remove, once removed, then settle. And then what we do based on the amount of investigation rounds, we term them as rounds at Credilife. If we've done a few rounds and we have a few stubborn accounts remaining, well, then at that point, your credit should have improved dramatically. So even if we have a slight dip in selling out ones that make sense based on the type of lending that you're looking to get approved for, it doesn't matter because the overall gain is significantly higher than what it would have been if you just started with debt settlement. So that's a big piece there that I think a lot of people don't realize. I hear it all the time, like, man, I wish I would have talked to you before because I literally just paid off a couple accounts. Which, don't get me wrong, there are ways to work on something post settlement if it's still on the report. But once again, for us and for me, when it comes to my clients, I want to leverage the most effective strategy that's going to get you to your goals as quickly as possible the right way, a true fix. So it's repair, sometimes it's credit building with that, and then it's debt management. And it's all about timing of all three components is why our clients are so successful. We want to control as much as we possibly can every angle to ultimately maximize FICO credit scores and put your credit report, your credit profile in the strongest position possible to then move forward with your life, get approved for lending at the best terms, and take advantage of opportunity. So hopefully I just want to do a quick video on that and just talk about debt settlement strategy, when to settle, why to settle, how to settle, and understanding that really credit repair is the first step in most cases when it comes to any sort of debt settlement strategy. So keep that in mind. It's repair, attempt to remove, once removed, then settle for the least amount to save the most amount of money. Now it's gone. It's not going to come back and bite you later by getting sold and re-reported. We have truly fixed that entire situation so you can actually move on. So once again, it's Jerrad Havins here, financial freedom strategist and CEO of Credilife. If you have any questions, if you want to connect with me or anyone on my team, we're all FICO certified in the algorithm that makes up your lending score. Would love to talk to you, and we'd love to help you. So reach out, and hopefully this information was helpful. Have a good one.